Hey gang, so what we've got here is, or are, two of the new Bath & Body Works White Barn specific, but not exclusive, marble candle collection. Kind of weird, interesting. They're testing new things as far as ways to, I suppose, kind of level up the decorative influence of their candles beyond just the standard packaging that we get in our 3 wicks. So this is the collection that I believe is wide, at least in the test Bath & Body Works I went to, it was there. I think it's in most Bath & Body Works, if not all, certainly in, White Barns and things like that. Interesting collection. I don't know, there's a lot going on here that I think is interesting and a lot that I don't like about it. So trying to make my thoughts here cohesive, but hard to do on a collection that is not cohesive. So where to start really? So there are 5 or 6 in this collection. You've got Woodland Forest, which is a new blend, Harvest Gathering, Black Pepper Bergamot, which is great to see, Bergamot Waters, Vanilla Pumpkin Marshmallow, whatever they call that, as Vanilla Spiced Marshmallow, hoping it was Vanilla Spiced circa 2011. It's not. It's just that, vanilla bean-ish vanilla pumpkin marshmallow that we see every year now in many forms with a new name. And I think there might be mahogany teakwood in this. Lots of, again, mostly returning straight up, not even just repackaged with new names, just the original names. But again, the little bit of the new name with that vanilla spice scent. Surprised we don't see things like Fireside or Fresh Balsam or Forest Trail or Pine Cone or goodness, anything, or even things from the Old Forest collection in this collection. They're not going for any cohesive notes with this collection. What they're going for is just the decorative aspect, which is what White Barn, the relaunch of White Barn with the dark chocolate wood and third-party products in there, were supposed to be all about. So much so that they even say on the bottom of the candle here, and we'll get into the glass and the marketing and all that as well, but they even say White Barn, the name, and then make an elegant statement with candles that celebrate the classic beauty of marble and then the fragrance notes. So, couple of things about this. I would never, ever pay full price for these. And in that, what we see here is, as you probably already know, if you follow Bath & Body Works or White Barn candles at all, their standard 3 wicks are $22.50. They go on the sales that are 2 for $24, or $12.50 a piece, or $15 a piece, or $12 a piece, or $10 off, everything they're trying from their marketing department. These, however, like some of their other or more decorative or ribbed or whatever kind of candles, come out at $29.50. What is really interesting about that is no lids, and you get, I believe, 13 ounces of wax, instead of 14.5. So less wax, no lids, the exact same fragrances. They can't even say, oh, these are different waxes, these are high-end conceptual blends with essential oils, aromatherapy. No, these are the exact same fragrances that you could get on discount at, December or June of this year, just coming back. So that's kind of stupid. So you're really only paying for the glass. What is going on in the glass? Well, actually, let me first say that the test store I went to had these when they did the $12.50 candle sale over Labor Day weekend, and the signage said, all 3 wicks $12.50, excludes marble collection. However, the sales associates claimed, oh no, these are on sale as well. I kind of thought, maybe they don't know, maybe they're just saying it, whatever. But I gave it a shot. When I went to check out, these were on there, and they both came up at $12.50 with the rest of the candles. It wasn't even something where they were just going rogue and offering that and then having to price adjust from full price. No, they were ringing up in the system as $12.50, which was great because I was able to kind of check these out, although I may end up keeping one and returning the other, which we'll get into. But again, Black Pepper Bergamot, love that. Excuse me. Bergamot Waters, not a fan of that. Just too strong in the bergamot, too watery, too much a fragrance that to me doesn't have any real identity. Sometimes it's in the spring, sometimes it's in the summer, sometimes it's a coastal thing, sometimes it's whatever this is. This collection is very weird to me in that it's a real true hodgepodge of a classic fragrance that they sell lots of, the mahogany teakwood, for better for worse. One new one with that Woodland Forest, a moderately successful something like Harvest Gathering, Black Pepper Bergamot. Again, I love it. Bronze Blogger loves it. Lots of people love it, but moderately successful. So not sure what they're going for with it. The good and bad with the glass here. So this is a thicker glass than your standard candles. It is absolutely not marble. It's not stone. It's not nothing authentic about it, which is not, again, not to be expected, but it is a thicker glass, which is, I guess, fine. And this is, I will say, it is an interesting process they use to make the marble look. It is not, you know, it's a far cry from your standard, again, sticker that's on a candle that you can peel off. And quite honestly, it's a far cry from, as much as I love this collection here, this has a wraparound sticker, but it's still very much a sticker with, you can see, you can feel right here, right there, you can feel the seam, and if I wanted to, I could peel this off and it would be done, and that would be it. Years back, like maybe as far back as 2009, they had a collection in the wintertime where they actually had the way that the names on the lids are, I guess, painted on, or I don't know how they do it, like truly, you know, ink on glass or painted on glass through a machine, but they haven't done that for a long time. That's not what this is. This is seemingly some sort of shrink wrapped, I don't know, kind of like shrinky dinks, or, you know, if you had the, what is it, the Easter eggs, is it Paz, P-A-A-Z or something, where you put a little piece of, a little like sleeve around the egg, dip it in boiling or hot water and just shrink wraps around the egg. I think that's kind of what they've got here. Now there's no seam, or at least no seam you can feel around the edges, so it seems like it may be literally like a cylinder of whatever the plastic they use to shrink on here, which is maybe why they also have the thicker glass, because whatever process they use to put this on. It stops right here, but it is a thicker, this reminds me more of like a candle you'd see at a high-end place, maybe a L'Occitane or something, where they do have a thicker glass with a little bit less wax, and they do charge a lot, but I think it's a tricky territory for Bath & Body Works to get into, because they can't make a thicker glass and say all of a sudden this is $30 and doesn't go on sale, because people will be like, okay, great, I'll go for, you know, this collection here somehow can go on sale for $12, but this is $30. Why? There's no good reason. So, but then also God, I'm losing my thoughts here. Whatever the, you know, shrink wrap is on the edge, it does go up and over the lip, and then it stops right there. And truly, like, trying to peel using your fingers, you cannot find a discernible edge to this, so it is very well executed as far as the quality of whatever the applique is. Where I think it's kind of missing though, and I haven't lit any, so maybe it looks nicer there. So you've got all white wax, and every one of the marble candles is a slightly different color scheme. So this is more of a traditional gray kind of marble, I guess, for the Harvest Gathering. Some of them just don't even really look like marble, and there's one that has a little bit of pink hues to it. This Woodland Forest here has some kind of greenish, olive drab colors to it, but again, while they certainly do evoke a stone look, it's not necessarily marble across the board, or traditional marble that you would think of. I think marble is probably a big trend in home decorating now, which is fine. I enjoy marble, but don't know that this is exactly the right execution. In some of the more conceptual test stores, and talking to the Show 78, Jen, who you may know from YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, she mentioned that they also have, and you can see on her Instagram, a similarly created collection, but is more, I think, a woods collection, where it more looks like tree bark or tree trunks, with 5 or 6 cents. In just, I think, Ohio and Atlanta, perhaps, test stores. So it's interesting that they're playing around with this, but if they want to do this, great. Should be regular price, maybe $25, but $25 regular price, throw it in all the regular 3-week sales otherwise. My hope is the test store that I went to was doing this where they were part of the sale, in the sense that they were testing that. Hopefully that was a success, and they'll realize, okay, they can be more when they're by themselves, but if there's a sale, they've got to be on sale. Because for me, even a 2 for 15 or 2 for 30 on this wouldn't be worth it. $15, just not worth it, because it's less wax, and maybe if it was something that was truly must-have, gorgeous, or amazing scents, or there was something to level up the quality in here and not just claiming a higher quality. But for me, you know, $8 more, $7 more, just for this process on the glass, not worth it, in my opinion. We're going mainly for the scent, so focus on the scents and a little less on the marketing, and then would be off to a good start. But really briefly, I definitely want to get into Woodland Forest because that is, I believe, the truly new blend of this bunch. But I grabbed a Harvest Gathering here. Again, you've just got the standard kind of paper dust cover, and you've got the white wax with the standard wicks that you've got. The notes in Harvest Gathering, again, you're probably familiar with it, came out, I want to say 2012 as a test scent, and then went a little wider in 2013. It's one of those scents that now is just kind of always there. No one really seems to love it. No one hates it. It's just there. I tend to like it, but not, again, love it. Maybe it's good for layering. They claim fresh picked apples, autumn berries, and clove buds. To me, this very much smells like a Joann Fabrics or craft store fake flower section. There's something very dry and sharp in here, and I suppose it's kind of berries or currants or something, but not in a sweet, juicy way at all, and not even in a dark way. Heavy on some sort of, I hesitate to even call it clove, some sort of spice note, and almost like, again, very dried. Maybe some dried cranberries, you know, slightly reminiscent of, say, your cranberry woods on that side. Harvest Gathering, again, it's interesting. I like it. Quite honestly, I may end up returning this, depending, you know, supposedly some Christmas or holiday test scents will be out soon. And do I really need another Harvest Gathering? I don't know. I may end up exchanging it. I've never been big on doing that, but with, you know, a few that I bought recently, I just don't know if they're worth keeping. So I may end up doing some exchanges as well as grabbing some new ones if there's good stuff out there. Keeping our fingers tightly crossed for a Vanilla Spice, a Winter Garland, and some Holly Wreath re-releases. So we'll see what happens. So what I want to do, sort of my in-depth sniff and review without having access to any of my candles that are currently in storage, is Woodland Forest. This is interesting. Now, they do have what looks like, you know, almost Christmas trees. They're, you know, there are certainly pine trees on here, but not being released as a Christmas collection. Initially, this, to me, gosh, I think it's new. It could be a repackage, but I think it's new. Extremely, extremely green and fresh. So, okay, forest, that's fine. Almost herbal, but without any specific herbs that I can note. To me, not that many people smell this, but Heirloom Greens, which I think was a failed test scent like 2013, 2014 in the spring, had a very sharp hit to it, where it's green, but it is like almost like a fresh pepper or something like that. So I get that. Definitely get some bergamot in this. There's a good hit of citrus. To me, it would lean more spring. Again, it's conceptual, almost towards a cologne, but I like it more than some of their ones that are too heavy on bergamot and too heavy on just being bland. Like a lot of their, you know, hashtag cologne fragrances to me lean more towards a cheap men's body care, whereas this kind of stands on its own more. I have a couple things that it does remind me of, but before that, I guess I should tell you what the actual listed notes are. Here we've got Sierra Redwood, Emerald Moss, and Sparkling Bergamot. Okay, so the Redwood, they've had Redwood in one or two candles before when they had like Red Oak Tree and things in the failed Forest collection circa 2012. I don't know what a Redwood smells like. I suppose I get some sort of dark, not even resinous, but leaning towards almost a cedar wood kind of scent in there. I also, though, in addition to, you know, Emerald Moss, again, to me, as I said in an earlier video, is usually closer to like a watery kind of note. Think of, say, your Sparkling Icicles or Flirt or, you know, whatever else. Paris Daydream came out like that, where moss is more of a blue kind of watery note. And then, of course, they say Sparkling Bergamot, which is used in many, many of the conceptual or cologne blends. And I do get a heavy hit of that. What's interesting to me, initially when I smelled this, it reminded me of two things. Continues to remind me of those, which they're weird, but go with me on it. So I mentioned sort of that Heirloom Greens or, you know, pepper scent. Weirdly enough, what I got from this initially, and I still kind of get, is this is Tanteo Jalapeno Tequila. So it's a really nice blue agave tequila infused with fresh jalapeno. And it smells, again, like it's a good quality tequila, so it doesn't burn your nose off like, you know, it's gasoline or something. But it's a very green, somewhat earthy, but green note with a little hit of a fresh, sharp jalapeno, which I kind of get from the Forest Trail. A bit of a tequila jalapeno note, but the other thing that I get quite strongly as well is, if you've seen any of the Gentleman Next Door videos, we reviewed Atelier Cologne. This is one of my favorites. This is Trèfle Pure from Atelier Cologne. And this is a very, very, to me, like an early springtime scent. And to me, it kind of reminds me of this, and I'm trying to find the notes here. I thought I had them up on my phone, and yes, so Trèfle Pure by Atelier Cologne, according to basenotes.net. This is, again, in an effort not to review Atelier's Trèfle Pure, but to give you an idea of the notes that maybe are in Woodland Forest that they're not telling us about as much. The top notes for this cologne, at least, are bitter orange, cardamom, neroli, which is also citrus, violet leaf, basil, galbanum, which I think is a wood, base notes patchouli, oak moss, and cedarwood. So we've got the match there with certainly, excuse me, with that bitter orange and the neroli. That's your citrus, the oak moss, as they listed in there, the moss, and then they said, of course, the redwood. This is cedarwood. Again, pretty close. To me, it's quite similar to this, which is interesting. I don't know if there's, cardamom, basil, or violet leaf in the candle, but again, I get sort of the greens, which could be a little herbal. The heirloom greens, I think, may have had a little bit of basil to it. So I can kind of see how this is, again, not inspired by, but really quite close in some ways to the Trèfle Pure cologne, which is kind of interesting. I love it. So does this mean it's cologne? Not necessarily, because I actually tend to believe that these Atelier colognes are not at all your traditional colognes, especially because they are considered to be unisex. So, maybe it's cologne, but you ladies could wear it as well. So I like Woodland Forest. Not a slam dunk must-have, but unique. Happy to see a new blend that I like from them that is more conceptual, that leans, again, towards the forest, towards the greens. So I will probably keep that, but again, the Harvest Gathering I may exchange, just depending on what I see out there. Of course, completely unburned. That kind of covers the marble collection. Again, think it's kind of weird. Looks okay, executed decently. It's a nice, thick glass, but not exactly what they're peddling at Bath & Body Works and White Barn. So if they're trying to, level themselves up with this higher end options, I think just based on their current demographic and the folks who are used to buying at Bath & Body Works and, looking to buy lotions for, $4 on sale, I don't think they're going to hit that same demographic or that same market with a $30 candle. It's just, those are very different markets, different demographics, and I think they need to kind of really evaluate what they're going for with White Barns or just with their home fragrance in general. I really would love to see a return to kind of the experimentation they did in the Slatkin era, in the Slatkin days. I think this is like the marketing that could match the greatness of the Slatkin scents. If the scents were as good as they had been years ago and performance would be amazing, great, then head into this more marketed, really high-end side. But if you're just kind of doing a hodgepodge of stuff and some of the blends are not so great, then you need to focus on those, because people are buying these primarily because they smell good, and then secondarily to have a nice, decorative piece in their home or an ambiance to their home. But scent has to be number one, and I think that's the issue right now with L Brands, Bath & Body Works, White Barn, whatever they're doing, is that there's just not the focus on the best fragrances and the best blends. So we'll see. Time will tell. Again, I think Woodland Forest is kind of interesting. Not sure when I'd actually burn it, because I don't know that I'd burn it now. It doesn't even have a fall slant to it for me, which some of those conceptual ones go to that direction of, well, it's not really a certain season. When do I burn it? But I like it. I think I'll probably hold on to it just because it is new and interesting, and I do like it. But we'll have to see what the future holds with these sort of, higher end collections, if that's something that's going to continue, and what it will look like if they go more and more in that direction. So that's about it for here for now. Please let me know what you think if you've sniffed them, if you've had access to anything else, the other conceptual wood or tree collection that's out there now with like the applewood, spruce, and white birch and all of that. Would love to hear your thoughts there and on this in general. And until next time, take care.